Good evening. My name is Felicia Stewart, and I will be presenting on the Jigsaw Teaching Strategy. Table of Contents. Let's look at this brief outline as we maneuver through this presentation. Our first stop is Introduction. What is the Jigsaw Method? Next, we'll be looking at the literature review. Research-based data on the Jigsaw Method. Then we'll come to the summary, my analysis of the Jigsaw Method. And finally, we'll look at application. How can the Jigsaw Method be applied to social studies? What is Jigsaw? Elliot Aronson, an American psychologist, discovered the Jigsaw Teaching Method back in the 1970s. The Jigsaw Teaching Method is a cooperative learning method in which students are placed into groups and can interact with each other to better understand desired learning material. Students become dependent on each other to better understand the learning material. But what is cooperative learning? Cooperative learning is a teaching strategy in which students are placed into small, student-led groups to improve their understanding of content material. Let's look at this quote. Life is like a jigsaw puzzle. You have to see the whole picture, then put it together piece by piece. This was written by Terry McMillan, and this is such a key fact in the Jigsaw Teaching Method, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But I want to talk about John Hattie. Now, John Hattie is a New England education professor who studied the effectiveness of various teaching strategies and methods. And every couple of years, this list of teaching strategies is updated based on student achievement, student outcome, student growth. And what this does, this helps the teachers to know what strategies are going to best support student performance. And as you can see, the Jigsaw Method is very high on this list of effective teaching strategies. Let's dive into the literature review. In their qualitative study, Halima and Sakumayati investigated prospective teachers' understanding of pedagogical content and improvement of verbal communication utilizing the jigsaw puzzle method. Another researcher discovered that the Jigsaw Method is significant in students' development of reading comprehension. The authors report that 91% of students found that using the Jigsaw Method improved their reading ability and comprehension skills. Now, I had to add the reading and comprehension because in social studies, we do a lot of reading and comprehending of material, but we have to be able to understand what we are reading to then apply the knowledge. Our next researcher suggested that the way that teachers believe knowledge is obtained greatly influences their teaching strategies and techniques. Many pre-service teachers will mimic teaching behavior of what they liked in school as students. In their research, Simsek and Bayard discovered that the Jigsaw Method provided students with the opportunity to work and learn from each other in a small, student-led group setting. Another researcher, Castoros, suggests that when students are placed in small group settings utilizing the Jigsaw Method, they become responsible for their learning. They're taking their learning into their own hands. This research also yielded mixed results, as students were able to receive deeper level processing through traditional lecture rather than Jigsaw Cooperative Learning Method. But they could gain social understanding with the Jigsaw Cooperative Learning. So essentially, what this research was identifying was that students are able to learn from the Jigsaw method. However, students have to have those social skills needed to inquire and to dig deeper into the knowledge base for understanding. Let's look at the summary. Jigsaw method. The Jigsaw method is a cooperative teaching strategy where students are in small group settings in a student-led group. What do the experts say? The Jigsaw method is beneficial to student learning experience, student learning outcomes, because if a student is able to teach another student, they are understanding the material well enough so that another student can learn that material. Experts also say that the Jigsaw method supports student learning when social skills and comfortability is considered. Now, how can we apply this Jigsaw teaching strategy? Well, we have two main category groups. We have the home group and the expert group. Let's look at some Jigsaw activities. But first, how does the Jigsaw method really work? Once students understand their desired learning material in their expert group, students will then go into their Jigsaw groups, which is the mixed group of students, to share their findings with their peers. Here is a Jigsaw graphic organizer. On this first image, students can write what they are expert on, take their notes in that expert group. Then on their smaller puzzle pieces, students can then jot down the notes from the other group members in their Jigsaw groups. Another activity you can do is use the Jigsaw method as a social studies test and or test review. So another activity you can do is the United States Regions Jigsaw. Now, for this assignment, the teacher will divide students into equal groups to study the 5 regions of the United States. Then each region will have a group to become an expert on the region. The students will then go back into their Jigsaw groups to share their findings on each region. And finally, we have the World Map Jigsaw. I go back to that quote. You have to look at the whole picture and then put the puzzle back together piece by piece. And with the Jigsaw, we're doing just that. Students are able to look at the whole picture of their desired chunk of information, of desired content material, and then put the puzzle together by going back into that Jigsaw group and sharing what they have mastered from the expert group. And students are then able to learn the desired material. Learning is transpired. So my references are here for all of my pictures and for all of my literature review notes. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoyed this presentation.